Welcome to Fredo. So just begin to relax, and we're going to begin with a small meditation followed by the Journey of Fredo poem. So just begin to relax yourself and get settled. And if you need to move or adjust yourself at any time, feel free. And I just invite you to close your eyes and begin to observe your body sensations, your breathing, and any thoughts that may or may not come into the mind. Just gently scan through your body from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. Simply observing, noticing any feelings, any sensations that may arise in any one of your body organs or parts of your body. Notice if there's any tension or any relaxation. And as you continue to breathe, you can now expand your awareness out into the room or the space that you're in. Just noticing the temperature of the air on your skin and any sounds around. Just continuing to breathe comfortably as your awareness expands out into the town that you live in or your surrounding area. Just observing how that feels. As your attention expands further still out into the world, into the whole world. Noticing the atmosphere, the feelings in the world, with all its people, animals, plants, different races and religions, different age groups, physical abilities, different cultures. Just noticing and observing the world. Maybe your attention goes to one particular country or culture. Or perhaps nothing, just a feeling. And as you continue to breathe comfortably, expand your awareness now out into the universe. The infinite universe of ever-ending space. Just notice the atmosphere, the energy of the universe. And you can just float around for a while. You can float around the universe as long as you want. Notice how that feels. Maybe you'll go somewhere, or maybe you'll stay in one place. And when you're ready, in your own time, you can gently begin your journey back into the world, back into the town, back into your space, and finally returning back into your body. once again noticing your breathing, noticing any thoughts, and noticing any body sensations. And while you're in this particular state, I'm going to read out the Frido Journey. It's a poem, The Journey of Frido. Something stirs from deep inside. It twists and turns 1,000 times. It pulls and stretches into shape. A figure shows and moves around. A hand supports it from below until it feels and begins to grow. Building blocks are put in place until the figure is nice and safe. The figure starts to create its own, from light and darkness, vibrating tone. Birth and death begin to rise. The figure splits to compromise. The figure then creates some space. Now life and death begin their race, until the space has found a way to stabilize and have its say. Space creates a home for all, the separation of large and small, of water, fire, earth and air, weight and lightness, cold and brightness, pain and sorrow, love and joy. Out of this space comes girl and boy. The figure has journeyed through time and space, feeling as though it has won the race, looking around only to find a universe of an amazing kind. The training's been tough, it's been testing and rough. The figure is ready, it's complete and steady. Back to the source, the figure must run, for now the journey has just begun. Hi there, welcome to a journey of Frido. We're going to be using this journey today, Mind. And it's the number 6, it's the blue chakra, the blue colour. We've got communication in this card, we've got action in this card, we've got motivation. These are the 3 key words in this card: action, motivation. So if you want to relax, think about your word that you've chosen for this journey today, and just have a little close your eyes for a moment and settle in, and I'm going to read the card. It's called Mind Direction. We are the conductor of our mind instruments. The way we conduct them will determine the outcomes in our lives. To reach our goals, we need clear direction and simple steps. When one cooks a meal, there are specific ingredients required and need to be used in certain ways. The right quantities in the correct order are necessary to produce the best possible results. Or think about a conductor. A conductor communicates to the musicians. Done well, and you hear harmony. Miscommunicated, and you get chaos. Your life works in the same way. First, recognize what you already have in your life and how to shape those things into a life you want. This card is about communication, how to use your words, body language, and actions to reach your destination. Each step moves me closer to my dream. Work out carefully, step by step, exactly what you need to do to master your situation. Keep it clear, simple, and direct. Okay, so on your piece of paper, and get a pen, write the word that you're working with today. So is it love, is it confidence, is it joy, is it fear, is it an addiction, whatever word you're working with today. And we're going to be doing the mind direction journey. You might want to write that. And also a percentage. So how much of a master are you of your word? Are you in total control of that word in your life? Does it work for you, or do you work for it? Has it got more control over you? So the more control you have of that word in your life, the more of a master you are of that word. So give yourself a percentage, between 1 and 100. Are you 50? Are you 80? So you decide what that number is for you. That's your truth. And then you want to write, I'll give you an example. So you want to draw that kind of rough diagram. So it's got like 9 lines. I know they're a bit crooked because it's supposed to be representing like a mountain steps. So they're not dead straight, but so you just draw straight lines. They can be just straight or wavy or curvy, whatever you want. But there's 9 lines there, and each line represents a step. And you can see on the step down here, about third from the bottom, I've got a first step. Then about 3 up, we've got a big step. And then near to the top, or pretty much at the top, we've got a final step. Leave a bit of space above the final step, and make sure you've got some space below the first step. Okay? And then what you want to do is, we're going to start with, you can start anywhere on these steps, but we're going to start with the first step. So where you've got a first step, what's your first step in getting closer to the word that you've chosen? So when I say closer, to understand it more. So if you've chosen the word fear, what would be your first step in order to understand fear more? Maybe it's, book some kind of fear course, or buy a meditation around fear. If it's love, what's your first step? Is it to tell your partner how much you love them? Or is it about going on some self-love course? So have a think about it. Put your first step in. Once you've done your first step, go to the, I would go to the final step. So right near the top, don't go all the way to the top, but close to the top, you've got a bit of space above it as well. And you want to put your final step. What would be your final step, your last step to mastering that word? So if it was money, what would be my last final step to getting to the point where I've mastered money, or mastered fear, or mastered joy, whatever your word is, or mastered, if I've chosen a person's name, when I really understand that person, what will be my last step to either master or understand your word more? And think about what that final step would be. As you take that step, you're there. You got it. You've got that word. You get it. Totally understand it. You've now got like a master degree in your word. Once you've done that, go to the big step, the middle of your diagram of steps, and think of a big step along that journey that you feel like you're going to have to go through, you're going to have to take. There might be a more challenging step along the way. What would be your kind of biggest challenge, your biggest step? And write it down there. Once you've got your big step in there, we can start filling in the steps in between. So if we go back down to your first step, think about, do you need to do something to enable you to take that first step? Is there something before that first step that will make it easier for you? What do you need to do before the first step in order to take the first step? So if my first step was, going on a massage course, there's steps before that. I need to find the massage course, perhaps. So put the step before that first step. What step needed to take before it? Once you've done that, go lower down to the one before, the step before that one. And think about, is there anything you need to do? What needs to be done to get to that step, the one above it? So my first step is I want to do a massage course. The step before that is I've got to look on the internet for a course. And the step before that is I might need to make time to do that. And you can keep on going down until you feel like that's really easy, that first step. The real first step is really easy to take. Not the one you've written in first step, but the one before it, the first one you've written down there, the lowest one on your piece of paper. And then we can start at the big step and do the same. So just below the big step, what needs to be taken, what needs to be done in order for you to then take the big step? What step's going to help you take the big step? And write it in there just under big step. And when you've done that step, go one below it and work out what step needs to be taken to make it easy to step onto that one, the one below the big step. So each step you take should help you take the step above it, the next one. I'm going to do the same with the final step. Go below the final step, one step below. What step needs to be taken to enable you to take that final step? And then go one below that. What step needs to be taken to make it easy for you to step onto the one below the final step? So now you should have filled in all your steps. And you might find, if you start at the very bottom and work your way up, they should kind of make some sense. Like one step should lead to the next one, that should lead to the next one, that should lead to the next one. If you find there's a gap, it's like one step doesn't lead to the next one, you might need to add some extra steps in there to make them join. You've got to make sure they all kind of join together. Otherwise you'll miss steps. You won't be able to get to the next one so easily. And if you find that in your life you're stuck, you get stuck on one of those steps, if you do them in order, start with the beginning step, and if you go up and you start finding you're stuck anywhere, look at that step, and what's happening is it's too big for you. It's too big for you. If it wasn't too big, you'd be able to do it easily. And you might not think it's big, but believe me, it's too big for you. So you need to kind of make a smaller step again, and a smaller one if you need to. Every time you get stuck on any step, make a smaller one until you can do that. So now you've done that, we can go on to the body activation. I call it mind walk. Mind walk. So choose somewhere to stand in your room, and this represents the very first step on your diagram, the one at the very bottom of your diagram. the real first step. Observe that step. Just observe it, that's all. Observe where you are, what step that is you're on. And when you're ready, take the next step. So walk a step forward. And again, observing what that step feels like. Sometimes you might get some information about it, but it's more about just making it feel more real for you. You're really taking those physical steps. And keep going until you reach your last step. And you can take as long as you want on each step. Now you're on your last step. Now step into your word, because that's where you are now. Your final step is going to allow you now to step into your word symbol. So just take that extra step and have a feel into that space, what that feels like for you. Now you're in that word, you've reached it. And take as long as you need. Spend a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or as long as you want. Some people like to spend as much as an hour because they're really enjoying being in that step, in that space. And when you're ready, you can start slowly walking backwards down the steps. Again, just stopping and checking in at each step, how that feels, and if any information comes to you. Now we've done that, we're going to go on to the ritual, which is very nice. Of course, like all the rituals, we have a ritual for every card. And this one's called Mind Count. This is all about order, counting steps in the right direction. So all you need to do is very simple. You do an action for every number that you count. So you might do 1, 2, 3, 4. I might use my breathing as an action. So as I breathe in, 5, out, 6, stretch, 7, clap, 8. I could clap 3 times and make that one step. 9. I could do a more interesting stretch, but it's still one step. 10. So have a beginning and end of each action. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And what this does is it trains the body to be able to take one step at a time, because actually when we're walking, we're taking one step after the next. We're not taking 10 at a time. When we're breathing, there's things that are happening in an order. We're not breathing at the same time, actually. It's going through our nose first and down our throat into our lungs. There's an order and a system and a structure. So everything that happens in life, every action has got steps to it, however big or small, sometimes tiny. But they're each individual steps, one after the other. We don't always see the after the other. And if we're sitting here and we're just breathing, our body's doing lots of things all the time. But there's steps happening very fast, but one after another. So practice that ritual. Do it for like 5 to 20 minutes. Sometimes I'll do that for 30 minutes or even an hour, some even 2 hours. But if you did that as a daily ritual every day for even 5 or 10 minutes, it would really help you, your body become more organized and your mind and more structured and more kind of able to work out how you can get from here to here and be able to do it as well. Logically, simply, easy, direct, where you want to go. So finish off with a learning. So what have you learned? Take one learning from this journey of yours today. So write your learning down, whatever it is. It could be something very small or something big. And once you've written it down, make it smaller. Take some words out of there, make it short as possible, maybe 6 words in that sentence. maximum 6 words or 7, and try and summarize the learning into a very short sentence. Once you've got that short sentence, turn it into an affirmation, a learning affirmation. So when you read that affirmation out, it's going to have no more than 3 or 4 words in. The message is going to say that you've got it. It's like you're doing it. That's when you read it out. It's like you're doing it. So I've learnt that hard work can make me money, for example. That's my learning. My affirmation might say, I have money. Keep it simple. So simple. I have money. That's my affirmation. So make sure that affirmation is really, really short, and it's like you've got it ready. That's telling the mind that you've got it. And then think of one action that you can do to prove that learning affirmation. So if I were to say I have money, maybe my action would be to go tomorrow or today to the bank and take some money out. I have money. Or to go to where I've got some money and count it, just to prove to yourself that you've got it. You've got that affirmation, it's true. Might be phoning a friend and saying, I might phone a friend and say, I have money. You know, anything, any way you want to prove, to take action on your learning. And finally, while you're here in the camera, on the video, I want you to carry out an action. Could be the same one, it could be a different action that proves your learning. Something you can do now, immediately. So something you can do right now. So in my case, if it was I have money, I might say to you, I have money, I have money, I have money. Do something now. Or if it's like, if I might say to you, oh, I've learned that yoga helps me feel better. Or the affirmation might be, yoga, makes me feel good. Then I might demonstrate it by doing a headstand or doing a yoga pose right now in front of you. So once you've done that, because that's really important, everything in the Frito journey is important to carry out. Finally, give yourself a percentage. So your final percentage of, do you understand your word that you chose today more? Do you understand it less or the same? You decide on what number is right for you. And I hope you enjoyed the journey today. If you want to go deeper, come and have a private session with one of the Frito guides. If you want to come on a webinar, donation-based webinar, we've got a beautiful group in our Frito tribe, 4 times a week. Some are themed, and some you bring your own theme and word to work on. If you want to do the training, if you want to become a reader of the Frito cards, that's really cool. We're doing the training now, so you can come and learn to read the cards, so you can add that to your tools just for enjoyment for yourself, but also you'll be qualified to read these cards, so you could actually carry out card readings for other people and have that as part of your business if you like. We do several retreats every year where you can come on an international retreat, always in a beautiful location, where we do Frito every day, along with other things like yoga, Reiki, various other things as well. Really, really deep retreat. So hope you enjoyed that today, and remember, keep living the dream.